Greetings. Today I'm going to go over how I'm installing these Mr. Kustom puddle lights for my Jeep JK. Puddle lights work with the dome light, and when the dome light's on, the puddle lights come on. Problem is there's no wiring inside the door for the dome light, and the Jeep doors come off, so we have to actually rewire the door a little bit. And on top of that, these things do have a warning on them. If that'll come into focus, it says do not leave on for more than 5 minutes because it will burn out the photo that it displays, and that's not covered by warranty. So that led me to timers.com, and this is the T20 timer. It's set up to come on for 30 minutes and then go off after power is applied. So power gets applied with the dome light, it'll go on for up to 3 minutes and then turn off. The dome light automatically goes off by itself anyway, but if you turn it on with the headlight switch, the dome light stays on. So didn't want to have any accidents and end up breaking our little Mr. Kustom light. So I'm going to go over that. I'm not going to go over through like door panel removals and stuff like that. This will just be basically the wiring. You can find door panel removals for the JK on YouTube already, so we'll just do the wiring and then the testing. Thanks. So this is where it gets a little bit tougher. I took the door off. This is the inner door panel. The outer door panel is already off. This door panel, there's ways to get it off, but you have to take the whole window out, I think, and all that stuff. So I'm not messing with that. I just pry it up a little bit to where I can get my hand in there and I can work the screw down. I've already got the passenger one mounted, but I chose to do mine on the interior. This is the interior side of the door down here. This is the interior side, and the exterior side, I chose to put mine on the interior side so that way they're out of the elements most of the time. Of course, unless, you know, we are underwater, but anyway. And I took a measurement from here and I did 21 inches, so it's going to go in right about there. And the reason I did that is I didn't want to get it in the way of, if you can see down in there, that's the track that the window rides up and down on. So I wanted to come to the back of the track, and that actually makes it so when it hangs out and the door's open, it displays really nice. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead now and get my drill and get everything ready to cut this hole in here. I'm going to measure it, mark it, and drill it. When you get it done, you want to come out with it real slow so you don't lose that little disc inside the door like that, so that way you don't have to go fishing it out. So now we have our hole drilled, and we'll get ready to get that Mr. Kustom light in. Now these are fairly simple, straightforward, right? The wire goes in and then you just put that screw down on top of it, and it comes with a locking screw on it right there to put it in, but I can't get into the door because of that exterior panel. So other people might be able to, you know, take that panel off if they want to and get in there and put it on. So what I'm going to do is put some blue thread locker on there after I get this fished up into the door. Fish it up into the door like that. All right. And then this just goes on the end of the wire. And you would screw it in. I'm going to go get my thread lock, put it on there, and then we'll come back. Alright, see, I did put a little bit of primer on that metal right there, just because don't really want it bare open, even though it's internal on the door. If you know, these are weep holes for when water gets into the door, so if water would get into, so these are the weep holes, if water would get into the inside of the door, and it could start corrosion on that. So just as a precaution, just cover that up with a little bit of primer. Not anything else really needed there, unless you want to color match it. There are several different types of thread lock. I'm choosing to use blue on this one because if I ever need to take it out, I won't have to mechanically remove the nut from the inside of the door. So just put a little dab of a thread lock along here. I don't have it open yet, but and then, you know, smear it around with your finger. Always use gloves because you don't want this chemicals and stuff on your hands. And then we'll screw it in. This thing hurts, so be very careful with that. So, not tightening it up all the way yet because you have to line it up once you get the door back on the Jeep. You want to line it up so that way the picture comes out really nice. Next thing we'll do is we'll reroute the wire. And this is really the easiest part right here. You kind of lift up a little bit, shove that wire. You can take this piece right here, which is, I guess, the resistor for the LED, and just put that inside the door. And then work your way around until you get to the wiring harness bundle. Here you'll need a razor blade or a knife and just cut a little bit of this tape away, or you can maybe even unwrap it, tear it and unwrap it. But that's where you have to get this off in order to run the wire up in there. And the easiest way that I found was to take a coat hanger, run it down this way, and then pull it back out. I don't know if you can see the angle that I'm at right now, but there's that coat hanger coming in. Take your wire and just a quick little attachment to the coat hanger with some tape. I like to use a little hook on it, and then you just tape over that hook so that way the wire stays on there and the hook doesn't grab on anything. And then just fish that back out, and now you have your your wire through the wiring harness, and now you can replace your tape. And that's all there is to the door portion of this job. So now we're gonna do some, we're gonna put some connectors on the end of this wire here, and then wire it up on the inside of the vehicle. So I'll take this up so that way it's not hanging loose. Just take your harness back a little bit and just do a nice even spiral going up to your connector. So now you have a way to get the dome light power to the Mr. Kustom puddle light. So I'm going to get the door back on, maybe move the Jeep out a little bit so we can see it a little bit better, and we'll get going with the next portion, which is getting this all wired into the dome light and to the timer. Actually, we wire the timer into the dome light and then this into the timer. All right, so with the door back on, and now the wiring harness and everything will hook up over here. I have unhooked now. Word of caution: when you have your door unhooked, make sure it doesn't swing around, because you can screw up not only your cowl but also your mirror and your paint and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, here's what we want to do. We want to check the lineup of the door. So basically, when the light comes on, we want the Jeep word to be even with the door. So I don't know if we'll be able to see it too well. All right, so right now you can barely see it, but it's already pretty well lined up. It just needs to go a little bit that way. Alright, let me get it lined up. As you can see, it just needs to go this side, wherever my finger is at. This side needs to come down, and that side needs to go up. So we'll just turn it this way a little bit. I'm going to do that, and then we'll check the alignment again. I'm going to check it again. Put my phone flat on the door. Look at the lighting. Little tweak. And that should be good. We'll leave it just like that. Alright, so now I gotta get the door back together, and then we'll work on the wiring that goes on the inside. And that includes the timer. Alright, so the door is back in and hooked up, and just want to make sure we can test everything out. Locks are working. Windows are working, and mirror is working. All right, so now we'll go over to the passenger side, which I already have the unit in over there, but that's where we do all of our connecting to the dome light. So I'll go over there, show you what we do, or what we need to do. Alright, so this is the part, if you're colorblind, you probably need to find somebody to help you out. This is the harness that connects to the dome light. This wire right here, the yellow and white one, that turns on when your door is open or when you turn your dashboard lights on. It does not turn on if you just hit the dome light button. But if you turn it on the dashboard or if you open your door, this wire right here turns on this light. Okay, so this is connected to the dome light. Now we don't have to come up here to connect because this all comes back through down here. And so what we have to do is we have to find this wire in this bundle. So I'm going to untape this a little bit and find that wire, and then I'll show you what we do on it. It looks like it might be actually right there, so it hopefully is real easy. From what I hear, there's two. This wire is actually yellow with a white runner, and from what I hear, there's actually two wires that are yellow with a white runner. And what I think that is that there's probably lights in the back that hook up through this harness also. Or maybe this whole harness goes out to the dome light. I don't know. I don't really care. All I know is I need to tap into that wire. And once I find it, I'll show you how we tap into it. Alright, I'm 99% sure this is my yellow with the white runner, because this is white with a yellow runner and this is yellow with a gray runner. Like I said, if you're colorblind, this is the point that you need to have a friend help you out. This connector right here, this is basically a T connector. So what happens is you fold it over on top of that wire. The wire automatically goes into the little metal thing right there and makes connection. And then this is the connector that you plug into the top. So let me do that real quick, and then we'll test it out and make sure that we have voltage there for the dome light. Alright, so this connector will go on here. Sorry if my big old head's in the way, it's kind of tight down here. So clamp, so the wire's in, but my piece is not staying shut. But that's not a big deal. Get that. There we go. So now that's on there. We will plug this little piece into it. So this is the connector for the other wire. Now we have this unit here that we will connect to ground. I'm going to go open my other door, see if I can get the dome light to come on. Alright. And then, if all goes well, I have light there. So now we're going to wait until that light goes, the dome light goes off, just to make sure that this light goes off. Alright, so that went out with the dome light, so that's a successful test. So that will now connect to the timer. Before we do that though, I only really need one wire to go over to the driver's side. So I've got my coat hanger again that I have that little loop on, and I have a single wire that I'm going to pull over to the driver's side for power. So now you see this wire will go back behind the rug on this side, back behind the rug on that side, and this will bring the timer, the timed circuit over to the driver's side. And that's what we're going to hook up next, is the timer. These little bolts hold the rug on. I'm going to go ahead and put that back on. They go up under the dash up here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this for now, and then we'll come back and hook the timer up. Alright, so this here is the timer, and you can see it's from timer.shop, http://timer.shop. This is the multifunction mini timer, 5 amp. You can get a 10 amp also. I think this one's actually called a T20 or timer 20. It's got several leads, and so the black is the ground. This is your hot, which will go to the lamp, the dome light wire that we just tapped into. This is your load, which will go to the new light that we're putting in. This is a trigger light, or trigger switch. We don't need a trigger, so we'll just tape that off. And these two wires here are called T1 and T2. White is T1, green is T2, and these are used to program the timer. There's just a series of things you do to touch it to ground, remove it to ground, hold it to ground, which actually sets the timer up. So I'm going to go ahead and just put some tape on these so they don't get anything, and then we'll go over the connectors that I'm putting on. Alright, so for the red wire, I'm going to get a red connector, and I got a crimper. Just crimp it on. Should stay. There we go. Crimped on. So that'll go into the connection that we tapped into that other wire down there. Now for my yellow trigger wire and my black ground wire, I need to get this set up in there and see how much space I have in there that I have to work with. So I'm going to get that set up off of video, and we'll go in and do the connections on that after we're set up. So these are all ground wires up in here. So for ground, I'm just going to take another one of these red taps. I'll be able to get a better view of it this time. Basically, you just throw it in there like that. Crimp it shut. Well, I had that trouble last time, didn't I? One more time, Dave. So now that should be ground. We'll test it out. And we've got connectivity. So we'll go ahead and take that out. Wrap that nut back on there. So that's up in here with, there's 2 grounds. You could choose either one. I chose the one that was further away, further back, just to hide my work a little bit. Make sure everything's nice and tight. Now so what that'll mean is we'll take the black wire here, and we'll put the red thing on there, and then that should just plug right in there like that. It might be up a little bit. No, that should do it. Okay. So because we all like taking our doors off in our Jeeps, they make these cute little connectors that, this is a female end that plugs into the male end on the inside. So that way all of the door locks and windows and mirror control and all that stuff works. Well, here's our new wire for our lights that we put in. And of course there's no quick connector on that, but they make these little waterproof connections for quick connect and disconnect. Multiple parts, male and female ends. Here's all of the parts together that are required to put this together. 4 crimps and a little bit of maneuvering. So I'm going to go ahead and make this up, and if I'm lucky, it'll just take me 1 try, and then I will film the driver's side door. So right now this is the passenger side door. So I didn't want to, you know, I've never done one of these before in my life, so I didn't really want to do this first time live on video. Anyway, I'll make this up and see what happens. Okay, so we're pretty much done on this side. We have a quick disconnect in, which is this box right here. And so we can disconnect the door and everything. This is the feed to the driver's side for the driver's side for the driver's side light. Our timer is wired up. So the red goes into the feed for the dome light. Yellow goes into the positive for the light on the door. The white wire, of course, that will go over to the driver's side. So I'm going to button this all back together, get that driver's side going, and I'll video the creation of those quick connectors on that side. It wasn't that bad. Alright, so this side's all done back up now. You see a couple things. There's the white wire going over to the driver's side, goes actually behind the rug and heads back over there. And now we'll go over there and start working on that side. Okay, so this side should be a lot easier. So I've crimped the ends on. Here's the females. And then I have the males over here. And they do make a special crimping tool to put them on. I used a regular old wire crimper and a pair of pliers, and it seems to have done the trick. So let's go through the assembly. So the assembly is pretty easy. This is the female end, and this is the male end. And then this is the female plug and the male plug. So to build the female end, you simply insert ends into the holes. And what you're looking for is you're looking for them to come all the way down to the bottom there. So I have a probe that I'm just going to go grab real quick so I can push those down in. Not the probe, but I found the awl. An awl. Awl? Owl. Alright, so insert the ends. Push them down in there. With your pushing tool of choice. So see, now those ends are all the way flush. You can see them right there. Put in your boot. And then take your female plug end, which is this. Place it right in there like that and just push down till it pops, and now those are locked in. Now what I do is I plug it in and I look at it and I figure, alright, so this has to be the ground, so I'll mark that with a Sharpie so I know which side is the ground. Because if you cross this up, you're gonna have to start all over again. So black is ground, so that'll go to black. Red is hot, that'll go to white. So I'll just mark it there, mark it there. Now I know which side of the male connector is ground. For my male connectors, basically the same scenario, right? So from this side, I need to go ground here, hot there, slide them in. You'll see that they're all the way in. You can see them sticking out there. And then take your male plug connector, and this one's harder to get in. Drop it down in there. It's going. There we go. Alright, so now that's in there. And you can take the female end, plug it in, make sure it gets seated. Bring your boot up. Put it in, and then just make sure that your hot goes to the hot and then the black goes to the ground. Just make sure you didn't screw it up. And then just like on the other side, I had taken the ground and brought it to there. So that's where I'm going to plug my ground in, and then I'm going to put it all, plug all the doors in, and then we're going to test it all out. Alright, so we're all back together. Boom. Love that. Let's go over on the passenger side. Boom. That's nice. Alright. And they should go out when the dome light goes out, or at 3 minutes. They actually have a timer, so in case you leave your lights on, you will be able to not burn your logos out. So parts that I used today, of course, we have the Mr. Kustom LED logo projector. That is for the Jeep. It has the Jeep logo, G4 number 75. We have the 2-pin waterproof connectors. Found those on Amazon Muai. So those are cool. A whole bunch of these little connectors. These are the ones that we did with the where we spliced into the wires. Those worked out really well. And the T20 timer from timers.shop. This is used to make it so if the lights are on, you don't burn your logo off your projector. I've got it timed for 3 minutes and it's working perfectly. Thanks for watching.